Welcome back to Pikmin 1, everybody. Welcome back to Pikmin 1, guys. We're going to the Distant Spring today. Last time we finished the impact site in Forest Nable. Today we're gonna actually go ahead and explore the Distant Spring. Distant Spring is probably the most difficult part, and I'm gonna employ a new strategy with my blue Pikmin. It's called Murder Everything.
Ahead of time.
Yeah, ahead of time. That being said, hey Travis, how's it going?
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, fine. So, the thing about the Wollywogs, I mentioned in the last part. Okay, but no, for real. Hey Travis, it's good to have you back.
Hey, it's me! I'm watching Pikmin 1. Oh god, the frogs, I missed you.
Ah, the Wollywogs. Hey, so did you know that there's like a glitch with these guys that, like, you see how my counter just dropped by, like, 3, and no Pikmin ghosts came out, except for those 2? But, how you, sometimes, like, okay, watch closely for this one. No Pikmin were murdered just now, but I ended up losing one, and there was no ghost.
Did it fall through the earth?
It absolutely fell through the map.
That's awesome.
This is actually a glitch with all the Wollywogs, the yellow ones and the gray ones. So, the strategy that I'm employing, and it's really one that I made up, and I mean, I call it a strategy, but it's really more like, hey, just kill everything. The reason why I'm going ahead and doing that is because the Distant Spring, not only being extremely difficult, is just flooded with various enemies. A bunch of Wollywogs with glitchy map-pushing blue Pikmin powers, on top of, there's a bunch of bulbears here, and for a second I thought that blue was drowning, and I was gonna say, why are you even blue then? But
why did I paint myself?
but it just seemed to happen on its own. So, what I want to do is go around here, ignoring that patch of grass because they love starting to farm for nectar, is to go and find this guy. This is the Puffy Blowhog, and the reason why I want to go from behind and try to push it towards you is because when you approach it, it starts backing away, and I'm trying to actually get it away from the Dumples nearby.
See, I don't remember all this camera control. Why am I blanking so hard? I guess there's just something they didn't implement in Pikmin too much. Or at all.
The camera control is for, well, I'm pretty sure you can do it this way with the, because you get like a whole like control scheme introduction during Olimar's narration, but since I play new play control, I'm able to like control the camera with the Z button and like the left and right directional pads on the D-pad. You can do it in 1, and as for 2, I think that actually is not an ability, if I recall correctly. I could be wrong.
See, there's a chance you probably talked about this, but there's a good chance I also missed it.
Yeah, that's alright. So that giant egg right there, we're gonna come back to it, but there's something a little special about it.
It makes a hell of an omelet.
Absolutely. And that right there is our friend the bulbear. Bulbears are absolutely way worse versions of the bulborbs because they wake up instantly and they can annihilate half your squad without even thinking about it. Bulborbs are already kind of tricky enough to deal with in this game, but bulbears are another thing altogether. But thankfully, the same strategy of just rushing them from behind still works for the bulbear, but you have to be 3 times as careful.
Yeah, there's like 5 of them in this area.
Yeah, it's just flooded with them. In fact, because I already lost some of the blues because of the Wollywogs in my murder everything plan, I actually went back to go get some more. Travis, you might not have known this, but in the last part, I went ahead and farmed 236 blue Pikmin, because I could, and so now I have a bunch of reserves. So if I lose any, I can just be like, we have others.
See, I don't know that, but to be fair, I don't know much of anything about Pikmin 1. I did play this one up to Emperor Bulblax whenever it came out, so it's been a hot second.
It originally came out for the GameCube in 2001.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we're reaching that time.
No, it's not about that. I got this text message.
It's from God. Saying you're getting fucking old.
Hey, did you know that Pikmin came out on the GameCube?
That's ironic, it says that. Yeah, I had to know it.
we had the blue Pikmin grab the interstellar radio because the puffy blowhog from before had it. There's another puffy blowhog here that I'm also going to take care of, but we'll see a little more about it in a little bit. I also recommend taking care of that too, because the puffy blowhogs have a different effect from the fiery ones. What they're able to do is actually blow the petals or flowers off of your Pikmin, and will actually not only scatter them about, but will in fact deflower them in a way, like their maturity, their growth will actually decrease. We had a joke about that in Pikmin 2, so if anybody has any new ones...
Don't look at me.
Anybody?
So the other day I saw a video, and I thought, it ain't that good.
Hey, you're about to die in a few days. This game's particularly dark. What's up with that? I remember when this game came out, and I was just like, Miyamoto came up with this? What's wrong with him?
Yeah, what's wrong with him?
Boy, hanging on my garden sure makes me think of death.
You think maybe he had like a potted plant in like a little dome and then he stared at it for 30 days straight until he's like, I got it.
Watched it for 30 days as it slowly died. From lack of oxygen.
And he was like, honey, come into this room. I want you to watch this with me.
And then he thought, oxygen's bad.
You know, he would be the type to think that, to be honest.
Well, that would explain why oxygen is actually poisonous to Olimar. So, since we already have two of the parts ready to go, and as well as the yellow deciding to drown because the Pikmin and AI in this game is incredible. Also, unfortunately, they do not bunch up as easily as they do in 2 and 3 when they're usually like crossing a bridge or like a smaller area. What we're going to want to do is actually go back here and have our yellows get started on collecting these bomb rocks, as well as being extremely careful not to wake that bulbear up.
I forgot they could do that. Was that their point in the original one, is that they're the only ones who could pick up bombs?
Yep, yellows were the only ones that could pick up bombs. They fixed this in 3, and in 2, they didn't even have bomb rocks. Well, they did, but you couldn't pick them up.
They were just a hazard, if I remember correctly. They were just dropped from the sky for no reason.
Yeah, because Pikmin 2, despite it being my favorite, was a very mean game.
Don't wake Daddy.
Strangely enough, I still think Pikmin 2 is a little more fair than 1, because at least in 2 it saved every sub-level, so if something went wrong you could just restart, where here if something goes wrong, you're starting over, buddy.
Which is another thing that Miyamoto got from his garden. Mercies for the weak.
He said throwing his wife into the pond.
I was gonna say that!
Yeah, I rewatched the best of.
She looks just like, oh, do you need help getting out of there? And just pushes her back in.
He has like a little artist palette and he has like a brush and he's like, I'm painting you blue now, so you're really good at swimming.
Hoi, 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 bitch.
I would divorce him, but he's a mad genius, and I kinda like it. So this was a mistake on my part. I accidentally threw that one Pikmin over the wall, and instead of him actually throwing it at the wall, he threw it at the bulbear and died. But you know what? That was not my fault.
I feel like this is actually an optimal situation as long as you're willing to sacrifice a few.
Yeah, I'm a little more lenient with this one. And
no!
Yeah, at the worst possible time. I was like, please.
Olmar's eyes slowly widen next to the bomb frozen in midair.
As soon as it cuts back, the bulbear is picking his teeth with the yellow.
I didn't even know that thing could grow arms. I wanted to use it at the gate, but then he ended up attacking the bulbear again, and well, what a noble sacrifice. It's okay. We have 8 more. But, unfortunately, my friend the Snitch bug here decided to get in the way. I highly recommend that you attack Snitch bugs and kill them when you can, because they throw them into the ground, and then you have to pull them back out. But it's really crucial, at least in this area, because they will actually keep attacking your Pikmin if they're dragging something from one area to another. And it could get pretty annoying.
I find the ones that don't straight up kill your Pikmin are actually bigger dicks than the ones that actually do.
Yeah, they're basically like shoving them, like if the Earth was a locker that you shoved a nerd into, that's what they're basically doing.
If the Earth was a locker. There's something very poetic about that, like...
If the Earth is a locker, then aren't we all nerds?
Nerds. And isn't life the jock?
The last thing anybody says when they're lowering you down in the casket is, haha, nerd, as you perish.
Yeah, and everyone at the funeral is required to shove the corpse into the coffin while laughing.
It's a team effort and a group exercise if you really think about it.
And if you don't laugh, you're written out of the will.
You're also shoved into the coffin. It's kind of a Egyptian sarcophagus situation.
And here are the pyramids of Hey Nerd. So, I took out those bulbears pretty easily, but I can assure you that it actually is pretty difficult. I've had a lot of swarms and rushes actually not work for me. I've had plenty of times where I tried to swarm, and some of the blue Pikmin unfortunately went further than I wanted to, and he'll just start eating them. And when a bulbear eats, like, even just a small bit or just starts its animation, a good number of your squad goes along with it. So, I call what I'm doing with the bulbears very risky. Even what I'm doing with the lollywogs are also risky. I lucked out with that frog splash on top of the glitch, but I only lost a few. My squad is still at least at 85 right now.
Man, this is a completely different experience from Pikmin 2, where you'd be like, I'm not gonna lose one of them.
No.
That's ridiculous.
I was okay with losing, like, reds and blues and yellows, but purples and whites, like, the main reason why I didn't do that was because they didn't have an onion. You had to, like, grow them in caverns. This is the game also warning me, hey, your Pikmin can't cross through this bridge that's not built. Even though I've already gotten this far in the game, but whatever.
They can't cross this bridge that hasn't been built. If there's some way to build it, I don't know.
To be fair to the game, this is a warning you're supposed to get if you end up doing something like this by accident. I just ended up having to get it now because I've been playing this game forever. But yeah, like the main reason why I would reset for like whites and purples is because you could only get them in caverns. They weren't easy to like farm. Whereas for like blues and yellows, like, oh, who cares? You could just get more whenever.
Again, another quality makes me question, where in the garden did he see this occur?
So, something to remember with the Wollywogs is that the reason they were having so much trouble jumping is because you swarmed them. As long as you weigh them down enough, they won't be able to properly jump about 3, maybe 4 times. And if you have enough Pikmin, that should be enough to kill them. But, again, with the glitch, you're still gonna lose some.
You're still gonna lose some, and even then, like, trying to calculate, like, trying to carefully, like, articulate how you're gonna throw your Pikmin in an arc tends to not work as well as a swarm, for me personally at least, so I end up just sticking with the swarm. I remember reading on a Pikmin wiki that, like, even the swarm, despite it being the best way to deal with them, is also the riskiest way to deal with them. So now that I finally got that wall down, unfortunately the second Snitch bug, which I believe only starts coming at you if you start attacking the wall, decides to do an 80s movie jump because I decided to look at the ship real quick to heal up.
Yeah!
Game over, yeah!
But, you know what? I think it ends up working out in both our favor. I'm trying to kill him with my small squad because the others are currently working on that bridge.
Explode. Explode.
But, then he decided to do this.
Yes!
And I was like, good enough, that's fair.
Mission accomplished.
I was like, well, that's just classic Pikmin, thanks Miyamoto. That was probably the first thing an enemy did where it worked out in my favor for once. So now that we have both of the Snitch bugs dead, because there's only 2 of them in this area, we can finally go ahead and,
Lag the game.
lag a little bit.
Slow celebration.
So now that we celebrate in slow-mo, we actually find the 4th ship part for the day. There's a grand total of 10, It's actually pretty difficult to clear in one day. I still think the Forest of Hope is by far the hardest to do in a 6-day run attempt, but in a casual attempt, 2 to 3 days is what you're mostly going to end up spending time here with. Don't let my estimation, like, pressure you or anything if you're going to play this game for the first time, because you do, in fact, have 30 days to work with.
But if you complete it in 6 days, that makes you strong, and if you don't, you're a coward.
Yeah, Miyamoto himself comes out of the TV and congratulates you, but then he challenges you to a sword fight, and you just kind of have to...
I just imagine Miyamoto crawling out of the TV like the girl from The Ring. The big smile on his face.
Which Pikmin was your first?
He crawls towards you and he's just like, let's go, and you're like, oh fuck, I don't...
Wahoo!
So now that I have that gate knocked down, and while they're currently bringing in that other part, one thing I want to mention about the bulbears really quick is that you have to kind of do something to distract and or kill the bulbears. I used to have a strategy where I would throw a Pikmin, well, it just got taken in right now, but I used to throw a Pikmin where I got the bomb rocks with the second batch of bomb rocks, and it would be good enough to distract them, but you have to position it just right so that way when you're dragging that other ship part, the bulbears don't notice and start attacking, which unfortunately happened to me during one of my attempts. Another thing is that if you don't deal with them in some way, the Pikmin, because of the way they're programmed and the way they act, when they drag something to a ship or to an onion, they kind of follow a track, and unfortunately, that track of them bringing that ship part to your ship involves them going directly into the face of both of the bulbears that are sleeping there.
Just tickle their nose.
Yeah, it looks like they're just feeding themselves directly to them, and that's an intentional thing they decided to do.
I'm tired of manual labor.
7 days in, they go, fuck it, who cares? So with 4 ship parts and half of the map done by this point, that's all the time we have, so we're gonna have to call it for now. But that's alright, because the next time we're gonna come back here, we still have plenty of parts to get through, and we're probably gonna see my least favorite puzzle in this game, because, well, first of all, this is actually pretty sad.
God, I hated that. It's so dark.
They always make you feel bad about leaving something behind, because they're just like, well, now you get to watch it horrifically die, and it is your fault.
They vanished.
At least in, like, 2 and 3, they, like, run away or something. In the first game, they're just like, well, this is how I die, and I'm okay with it.
They vanished into separate pieces in different mouths.
I like to imagine if you leave all 100 that you have out, you just watch a war take place on the planet as you leave.
Like, well, that looks like fun. So, we're gonna time travel ahead to the future a little bit. Remember that egg that I talked about for a couple seconds? Well, we're gonna go ahead and actually see what the deal with it. Well, what's the big idea with the egg, you know? Naturally, when Olimar sees something he doesn't understand, the logical conclusion is to attack it and or swarm it.
I prefer the ant logic to everything.
And doing this, nets you the death of what I'm assuming was a shadow, and or the spirit of some sort of ancient being.
You are now God.
Now that I become God for real, let's redo time. And let's just kind of try to punch it, but unfortunately it doesn't work. Let's just throw like 1 blue Pikmin and then just sort of back off.
Whoa.
Now that I have forced evolution, this is the smoky progg. So, remember that Mamuta? Well, this, according to Olimar, is a Mamuta in its larval state.
Are these dying just by existing near it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the smoke that the smoky progg is literally trailing with is instant death for all Pikmin types, and it is a pain in the ass to deal with. This is honestly, in my opinion, the most difficult enemy to actually fight, because it's basically an enemy designed to murder your squad.
It looked like it was going to eat your ship or something. It was going directly for it.
I decided to actually let it go and do its thing. It even has a weird shockwave attack.
So I've mentioned a couple times, I think even in the Pikmin 2 LP, the idea of an enemy that can come along and snip the heads off the Pikmin that are underground. Well, it turns out the smoky progg kind of does that, because that shockwave pulls the Pikmin out of the ground so it can kill them.
Born to die.
So this thing is pretty scary. In fact, the egg can actually hatch when you're just playing casually, but you have to be near it, or what I did, just stand near it long enough, I believe, or if you just accidentally throw a blue Pikmin at it. That thing's is the absolute worst enemy you could possibly activate here, worse than the bulbears, worse than anything else. Because if that thing hatches and you're trying to gather ship parts, it always automatically goes towards the base of your ship. So if you have Pikmin rooted in the ground, like Thorn said, it can kill them. If it's just trailing the smoke behind, you'll just be instantly killed. So here's me using the strongest Pikmin type, having as many reds as I possibly have at my disposal, and it's still a pain in the ass to get through.
Yeah, you have up until day 15 for it to spawn. After that, it disappears.
Yeah. But thankfully, since they knew that this was a pain-in-the-ass kind of fight, it drops this golden marble. I'm gonna go ahead and put all of my red Pikmin back and have some of my blues grab that, because I want to demonstrate its effect with the minimal amount of Pikmin necessary.
It revives a smaller one, doesn't it?
Yes.
That's your friend!
It goes into the onion explodes, killing all of your Pikmin, and then
Yes!
a second smoky progg exists, and it laughs directly in Miyamoto, and you just it just kind of happens. It's kind of weird that they programmed that in.
Donkey Kong crawls out because Miyamoto infamously hated Donkey Kong Country.
Apparently. He said that he actually did like it. The effect of the marble is that it grants you an automatic 100 Pikmin for your troubles.
But you just wasted 100 to get those.
And it grants you an automatic 100.
Alright! So glad we did that.
Have fun picking all of them.
Yep.
Yeah! Keep in mind that plucking Pikmin out in the first game sucks because you're just constantly mashing the A button.
Also, lest you forget, the ones you killed had flowers on them, and now you have 100 leaf ones, so it is a step backwards.
There is an easier way to take care of that thing. Just drag along one blue Pikmin, have him wake up the smoky progg, then haul ass back to your ship, pull out 100 Pikmin because it automatically goes to the base, but it also passes under the red onion, which means it's facing towards you, so you can just constantly throw Pikmin into its face, but it makes it stand there and shake it off. You might lose a few, but if you position it right, you should be able to kill it without losing too many.
Well, that's really cool. I didn't actually look up any strategies or anything because my number one recommendation is, don't activate it. Just don't bother with it. Even the 100, Pikmin marble that it gives you is not worth it, because you can get that and more whenever you want at the impact site, and nothing tries to kill you at the impact site, aside from those 2 monsters that show up. And even then, they're not difficult to deal with. This thing is an actual murder machine.
I wonder if someone ever asked Miyamoto, what helped you come up with the toxic monster that just kills everything? It's oh, I ate something poisonous in front of my garden.
I was hoping it would be something more casual, I just took a drive down the highway.
And ran into my garden. I'm just assuming everything eventually leads back to the garden. And I thought the world's a cruel place, so that I made Pikmin.
Got an airline ticket to go to New York. While in mid-flight, decided not to be there anymore, and so I opened the emergency exit and parachuted into my garden.
You want to know the best thing with that little gold thing you get out of the smoky progg? I got that. I had the yellows carried into the onion. I got nothing. It bugged, and I got nothing for it.
It can glitch?
Yeah, somehow. Maybe it's because I called them as soon as it sucked up into the onion, but nope.
So the onion took it in, and the Pikmin were like, hey, cool, free toy. I'll play it with no one because the rest of the squad is dead.
Just one of the legs of that tripod snaps off and it falls over, and that's it.
The like snaps and it falls over like the last red you had, and it just crushes.
Yeah.
Oh, nature can be so cruel, especially when you're the god of chaos, Miyamoto.
I like to imagine that he is some sort of god of chaos. As soon as I saw him, I don't know why it popped in my head like Miyamoto, Nintendo's version of the Old Testament. He judges.
You know that he has okay, he actually has like one image of himself with his arms like spread out, and he has like Pikmin on like both sides, and he has like a bunch of Nintendo characters around him,
And
I
a
feel
fire
like...
pit below him.
You could like Photoshop that beneath him, and it'd be like, yeah, this is Miyamoto at work. Like,
His creation process.
Shigeru Damocles.
I mentioned this in another Pikmin part, but I don't know why we're so mean to him, because he's such a nice guy.
That's what he loves to make people think.
If you think he's nice, you're off guard.
And he can whittle you down.
When he's smiling at you, if he's ever behind you, he's constantly thinking of ways to swallow you whole.
And if he's successful, he's like, I just came up with a new IP.
Videotape me swallowing this man and give a person a controller. Perfect game.
Just hand him a controller. Don't plug it in. Just give it to him.
See, Reggie's not retiring. He's slowly being swallowed now. On stream.
He's slowly being swallowed. He's like, you can get Joker for Persona 5 in the new Smash Brothers.
And they're playing that Super Smash Brothers music in the background.
The new game is called Retirement.
Miyamoto swallows his way through Smash. And it's just a picture of his jaw unhinged and his eyes rolling back.
I don't know why, but that feels like something you'd see in WarioWare.
You know, if we had a copy of WarioWare Do It Yourself, like, we could actually make that.
No, you can make those Super Smash Brothers stages. There just needs to be one of just an open jaw to Miyamoto, ready to consume.
I know what I'm gonna do now when we're all done.